Good moon summer the brown here, the good moon summer bro padia. Now the focus and obviously club World Cup is answer club World Cup no ye no rema from the start of the competition. So today bra Ali and Bobo Kwaye friend Inter Miami boy to Paris Saint-Germain Chelsea. You didn't at the abroad. Be room now you competition, you know how like we analyzing it from the beginning to the end, saying any unify, saying we are say can for competition, is it worth it? Say after a long season, anchor players being your opportunity, I call rest, yes, I'm on competition, and this time we can be on the weather condition, any idea, but I think say maybe the next edition might not be played or US, so maybe I don't boy Europa. So if all criticize way because of the weather, it will not really make sense, because at the end of the day, we are the next 4 years, the number one, more US, so the weather condition might not be the same. But we are looking at the competition itself, continent by continent, representing a continent, how did they fare, any idea, and how are they going to, improve to ensure say the next edition, they will be there to defend their continent near their there. Yeah, you be remune group stages games, knockout stages are to the final, the closing and the opening ceremony. They are causing near the dinner. You be room now. Your church who senior. Wow, one should be no. Also, when they are connected and the eba. If you are because of say. Teams are players. Players are teams never signing. Are you crucial to your better? You be 20. Teams are and our players are teams in the best signing. Are you crucial to your better? You be you be tra. Into you be rat transfers them. Now I hear teams no. They are corner the eba. And they ask na for almost saying another defender. You be remove Eucharist. It is almost done. Noni Madueke, it is done. Now they will have to sign another winger. So it is between Rodrigo and Eze. So you be room. Who do they need? Do they need Eze? Do they need Rodrigo? And if any of them bar, what does it mean for the other rivals in the Premier League? You be dimu and Como. Any idea? Man United's car say omone Brentford for AD in Birmingham home komono. Mesra wa no makoyi miti fresh. Na mabodwe no ba kokura ni wa na efu. Me no ka say efu ma say katama no no nyina. Up to now, enkrofo no enka mbemu asem no enwie. Ene onana so yeso we pra. What does it mean for Man United? I was Man United copy goalkeeper for Fran. I say also mo twen ma brantie no recover from hamstring injury no. E be dis an komo no. Any idea? We any nsem bebre a ye be di on komo. Ni nyina Chelsea. Enya samanka was by now. I producer to me both Chelsea and Newman de Mayan. Now so it sounds so Real Madrid support and tea. Oh yes, arrangement on that. You can't think wrong yet. Sanko be both Chelsea and Newman blue is the color. Now man for be brain na omu fieni adeni nyina hu say Chelsea e na age club World Cup no. Man no aye na adwin say nya ade obeye. Enti you be caught near ransom. But before then, I was see my bet won't come on. Say, club World Cup now, man for a first car near the idea or no. I ended. Dear na catch rebium. My bet for heading at the air brain. Dear na catch and my bet for heading at the brain. You better not fee. You beside a money man, not be beer to me. My bet and someone saying, oh, call a Facebook app. My bet ni boom. MYBET boom no what in temu no what show Africa Facebook MYBET.AFRICA and answer street is watching street STREET is watching WATCHING street is watching Facebook and ABN Radio 1 ABN Radio 1 wo fame ni gyina wo Facebook obetumi ahwen wo hono na mmom kɔ YouTube dia ene wo screen so no MYBET.AFRICA TV ni nyina abom MYBET.AFRICA TV wo YouTube udu anu abom de na de comment na to na wa share na afi ya kan e de ama na bibia so no atumi ayede akoye wo kɔ TikTok sports.arena.news sports.arena.news bomodi ana join you on afi bibia ntumi koye sa so na Telegram account no sports arena yenra ensem no money man em wakaba
list to am Joseph
ene eye wie bibia club world cup jabo omo aja am be criticize ne ade ye wie now dear na my bet ewo edema bra leaks and end started yen.
Yes, idea my bet ewo mine is virtual any casino games they be break kwa ewo my bet say okay company on my virtual any casino games we bra MYBET.AFRICA obenya up to 300 plus games ewo ho bit me there but instant cash and almost winning rate dear isakra wo mni kra amount 94% into se kwan bia so no o kwan a bit me afisika o MYBET.AFRICA ensi ho almost international friendlies games ni be koso that is club sites no koso no so available
pre-season friendly games
yes, no available MYBET.AFRICA and open football a we ma games ni koso do abehun se bebire o maka ni na abo match mpa on dwen so de beba no ni na ho now the virtuals ni casino ni to tie chi a week no enye boring in my order because MYBET.AFRICA make sure say bibia o pebia no de bema na so utie yen na o share sports no na afi de o san face card to bottom tie na person be kan busua no simple call www.MYBET.AFRICA ubi on platform na fe top right corner ubi hu icon be as ni green umia so a ubi hu login any register o account that login na afi de why enjoy virtuals ne casino games so when your account but register ne so na afi de three simple steps. First one your phone number dubo phone number ni shema your mobile money number na me kan wa asem send ya we discount ho betimi atwe abeto phone so the next one your username betimi use nickname betimi use ufie din bia pese o use but time bia mtufu se bia pese o use kwame na obi use deda internet dey on the 10 and 5 number ba ko mienu bia ka ho send ya be ma na unique amount na afi de wa ball password dey wa wunim password a wo be kai ebeboa into the password ni shame now me register ni so MYBET for be send verification code now they are verify our account na afi de wa ba be kan busua no omo office bebre ene first time I would see MYBET bet builder option with bet builder one game ubetimi nya 10 selections e wo mu the team ni be win or draw corners bookings be available on MYBET no mu wi a almost say aka bonus 1500%. We are seeing my company amount can say 1000. MYBET amount 1500% because of say we did the mu do e wo mo ho. We obi so abet share odin especially yewa club friendly see more pre-season games see how sharp. E be bet no ntimi hihye MYBET afa expert omo hihye bet omo de to bet fit nti ko ho a wo de ade a wo hia ne wo odds a ope 10 odds ope 20 ope 100 odds wo ko fa wo ho a na afi de wa hwem selection ni good mawa na nso discard to echi afa nti office mi ensa we na MYBET de man kwan bia so no udi nhihye yesu na oye bibia obetimi afiska kai se MYBET na the truly Ghanaian betting company o Ghana nti upe bibia udi bet a osika no nya asema MYBET.AFRICA nti na ebe kan busua no na nso twa bet MYBET.AFRICA.
Yes, MYBET nkomo na wabomode na watimi atia ma bibia so no etumi akoye no sha ha nti bomode na MYBET nhwimbo na bibia ntumi koye yen hwe club world cup jabo this is the first time we've seen it. The criticism about also players here rest near the idea. First of all, yen share can't players in the rap a competition as difficult as it is with the weather no. Yen rap a competition.
Yes, a rare competition man. I think FIFA Club World Cup na the back one FIFA has say the previous competition na no more bono. Say na European teams no eba be joining from semi-finals. Into omushieshi omho anoma be joining from semi-final. Ntina the possibility say European team ni betimi akwa do final akwa kwaje. And now be the performance they be kosho no ya de ba akwa na eda ho. But FIFA who said there be esa no osisi other continents no. Osisi other teams omo so put up good performance. Nti enei ombiemu no nya no to say World Cup format no be ntimi nya kwan embebo bi. And I think say yenya nkofo ma criticize tournament ni ye, especially we shall be muso pre-season players ni here rest or mu here holidays na tournament ye hu ebi mpo a top coaches were criticizing tournament ni say one of the worst or me hu e FIFA calendar ni so. But I think we share tournament no from the football view la boa teams ni bebree. We share teams we say Fluminense come benya or tournament we. I think on any day omuntimi nya free any continental and any Brazilian competition be omobo. Ene ade ba ko boa teams nti edu baby a say criticize the tournament here yen share one exposures and my teams no, two exposures and my players ni bi, and also three the brilliance of the tournament. It me ma some of the continents who say okay US beat me hosti competition say nti edu baby I criticism ni was sure yenim say injuries ba ko mienu be ma injury de nyame anim no kweni mu ye training na injury ni beba enye tournament na de injury ba ye hu Christopher Nkunku France World Cup omu ye training na Kamavinga wan sheda okotia na wentimi ambo World Cup nti injury de ade ba ko e player bia ho nti kwan bia so na betimi esi enye tournament na rest omenya wo hwe tournament we a Brazilian clubs no in every FIFA Club World Cup no mo start na mostly no ma into the semi-final ma be share European teams no mo yire omho a e no mutimi reach the final mutie who more Brazilian clubs a o metimi reach the FIFA Club World Cup no Friday me can say FIFA Club World Cup ne start here the old format no na Brazilian teams na etaje because of the aggressiveness na no mo de ball nti enye mo say they coming into the main tournament teams over 32 join here no o metimi a say yes omunsu timi bobo o after the FIFA Club World Cup and during the FIFA Club World Cup transfers equals to most Brazilian players no more that Brazilian clubs in the movie by Europe. So in Yama say in here because on any day I don't think say obi benya time I share Botafogo match or Brazil, obi benya time I share Palmeiras match or Brazil, obi benya time I share Fluminense match or Brazil, and they players ninya that exposure. John Arias or movie to Wolves. We have friend is saying we Wolves for player but we Botafogo player back who move it to Nottingham Forest and Ricardo we Rios on also Inter any AS Roma even Wesley of we have friends and Flamingo AS Roma dinechinti tournament na ma da exposure ama this clubs are no munsu ntimi mbo mo ordinate me we remember be do that level I think tournament we have tournament na under review la is one of the best FIFA tournament and if FIFA may say tournament with car revenue generate amount no esen tournament bi o ma hosti nti eche say we 4 years no ebema clubs na ni age no bia be na dwen so no so betimi ewe me na Chelsea winners you menya $129 million eni omo nso de be ka omo sika ho a player ba ko mienu bi omo hwe so betimi ato omo finances omo hwe so betimi aya ma bibia koye ne betimi abo anti I think in general enye se Chelsea ajepe but Chelsea mpo anje in general it was a good tournament. They expose teams ni bebre and the feeling of a type of World Cup ani now in the club version and the teams ni bebre ni you know be him said the likes of Al Hilal and Fluminense betimi ni Inter Milan na koto to into tournament we my is hard here na yetimi hu ya but European teams no every time they will show say they have the pedigree they can dominate the world two European teams getting into the final abako etimi je wo.
So I'm sure on the field of play, group stage, teams never represent your continent. How do they fare on the field of play?
Yes, I think on the continental basis, no, Africa for no very disappointing. I think the only African team I made me say put up a good fight, Mamelodi Sundowns, with performance of boy against Dortmund and Numponi took some individual errors and of course your Menyasa they would have performed well. So Africa. Yes, in himself every time they do tournaments in African countries and African clubs ni wema muntai and bomb modern. But this is one thing as Africa phones in the next 4 years, another 4 clubs will represent it. Then they need to learn something from this tournament because going into a tournament meeting ebimunya easy groups, the likes of Alimu enya easy groups they were supposed to do well, but bomb. So Africa, I think they didn't perform so well. You share Oceania, that is where we Auckland City move free by Omono weren't expecting much from them. But at least almost to me say in their final game no Utiminya draw la Onusu Beko Fede Aquaco Ginini. You share the
that's Auckland,
yes.
Yeah, Auckland City.
Yes. Inti you share the South Americans we share Brazilians, the Argentinian teams on mobile tournament. Omo say yes, they can go boot to boot with the Europeans. Omo share physicality, omo share their strength. Even though say no omo ball mo leg, no mo break the ball. That is this tournament. But ultimately, who say they were able to perform so well in the quarterfinals round of 16. Who some of the Brazilian teams getting chance to play, and no chance the South American continent, no, the performance no was show. Who players are moving most to the top clubs. They say the Estavio Willian, Mo, Hendrick, Muniwema, they are coming from that South American continent. I just say they are not just playing football, but they are playing it at the highest level, and they come into competitions like this and perform. If you're the Europeans, they would always be the top guys when it comes to football and our continental football, because omu invest more compared to any other continent football, and they are using technology to make sure they boost their competition at my level near the equation. Into more say you were the semi-finals. There were 3 European countries which shows the pedigree of the European countries and the performance on beat me identity. So I think you have group stages, any continent now Europeans perform well, and the group stages. I think we had a lot of surprises. The likes of Botafogo topping their group. They were big teams. We were expecting them to top their group. So meant me even Chelsea. Out to me Fifa Club World Cup, Flamengo and the top in the group. Or that second, which shows say
I think the group stage the South Brazilian teams per se
they performed so well. I think out of Omumu 4 or 5, Nemu 3 at top of group.
Yeah, and all of them qualified from the group.
Yes, which shows say it's not just a one-way tournament and Europeans might be rim. By now, when you have a chance, the Europeans they compete, they were able to show them say yes, they can perform well. I think the tournament has given us a lot of things, a lot to be learned, especially FIFA in the next competition. And also some of the teams in Swiss and MYBET teams will beat Chelsea. Enzo Maresca said this competition is equally important to him as the Champions League, because so about tournament we know to me tactics and formations here going into the Champions League with a new format, a bit easy man. So FIFA ni almost signing teams be signing contract, so you need to play your best players in the tournament, which and also why and the likes of big players coming in. And I think so ushe team or enjoy and team explore tournament ni year pan Chelsea. I didn't make us and say FIFA ma that is from the 2nd of July to the 5th of July window a bit in the player by account. But in the tournament team be any the player by account Chelsea pe no they João Pedro be account one and I'm also no with me be share 3 goals it me bo mom ko jinti. Chelsea explore every available slot a man set tournament to beat me akwa GNA otimi jinti, and I created that exposure. And in the next 4 years you better senior FIFA ebe yama tournament na more exciting, and the clubs be bring so be going to this tournament. Be on my dream say not just a mere tournament, it's a pre-season tournament and you be more classified, but a world champion. And on my dream say the previous winners FIFA Club World Cup na FIFA rename and Intercontinental Cup. Nti Chelsea pen the only FIFA Club World Cup champion. Next 4 years, that is 2029, you bet me another team more.
Okay. Yeah. Listo, I think say this tournament, first of all, my main chair for national for I think say this tournament before I best starting, there's been a lot of criticism about the tournament, the number of games you've seen, coaches, especially the famous one. I have your attention here by Georgian club. Then say useless tournaments and where they are playing and the weather. And I think that we would have to be fair to people, especially those in Europe. Say football, any European squad here. And the way Uncle Ponce Bo we as in Ghana, how many names no at all had that there, but Mimi knowledge means no at all Ghana had that. So in terms of weather condition, this is a World Cup ne Coco Boy. There are teams who play in the MLS in the same weather. So people that were complaining about the weather were mostly the Europeans, and even the South Americans when they were complaining about their tennis. Currently MLS, MLS league. They play the same.
But to be fair, MLS, I'm on 7.
Yes, I'm born late.
I'm born. Time.
Yeah.
Time. I'm born. The I'm born in Tema. 9 p.m.
Yeah.
11, 12, 1, 2. And
they call late night.
They call late night just to get.
Yeah. Me was bad. The point I'm trying to make is a World Cup. So you bit more about weather condition be maybe in favor more Europeans and in favor more Africans. No? If tournament way.
I think the timing into I'm a board.
Yes, and make us say even if o check it and see a do we no tournament no more ball tournament ni na enyume but the Europeans were complaining say almost 3 pound matching and a match. Yes, they were complaining. Me can put Chelsea match on board one. Me complains actually match I this is 3 pound one. So people were complaining, but the thing is this too. Imagine Kebo or ABR, Russia, baby, and any other European country. Do you think say people will care so much about the Africans or they are complaining about how our weather near code in Europe? A mudru winter now, they play. So me, I know say a World Cup, and this is a message to the African leaders and the African countries. Since a World Cup, even the country World Cup, African, you're hosting, even the next World Cup, probably after the American one, about so I think Morocco. Yeah, so Morocco, South Africa, and even Ghana, it seems to see we might be able to get a chance to hold the FIFA Club World Cup, where all these big teams will be coming, especially to Africa or to any other continent. In America, probably next year, you meet me Asia, or meet me Europe, or meet me Africa. So the initiation of this tournament, or more born every 4 years, I think they're very good, and also it favor all the teams because last Mbekacha was say. The previous FIFA Club World Cup na ebono, OG Champions League, you don't even play Ukoko from semi-finals. Other continents for the so right now there's equality in as much as there's equality in the number of games you are playing. So we a big club, we Europa. There is a reason why participation fee award and you be in Abia Ali or Africa and a team or Asia edgy. So right now, if you really want to show so you're a champion, you don't have to play the game from semi-final. Not about 2 games. Now Abia Corinthians and now Ali now in the final. We are almost there 5 matches or 6 matches. Proud to meeting you at the final. So you meeting him, technically, physically, you're fit than on no team now about all these games. So I think that how FIFA for a tournament is very good. It's also going to be an avenue for some of the teams to also generate some money. And it's a virus day. I'm highlighting a virus in fact. So some of the teams, especially the prize money teams, nibi aji. And some of them to scan also Abuomo, especially Dortmund, any other teams. There's been percentages of because you say a Shefi from Ramu say any revenue be as a club you can use 70% for your wages, your transfers, any other thing. So it means that any other club aboard the FIFA Club World Cup, you can use 70% at the club duties. 70% of the money which are the percent virus. Yes. So this is the breakdown in a BBC photo. And so about the money now clubs and you see they also did another one the percentage some of the teams based into my highlighting because the virus very high. That is 4 teams. How beneficial scan of Mokokunyan a bit me about in fact we will be Chelsea here. If Chelsea are getting up to 80 million pounds in this tournament. Now, almost 70%. It means that Chelsea transfers are so far here with Jamie Gatins, with Liam Delap, and Joao Pedro. This money can cover 39% of the money at Chelsea are spending, and that's our players. And to me, balancing books, we know that Chelsea are also going to sell a lot of players. Now look at Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund for to Job Bellingham from Sunderland. The money now we for Dortmund for in this tournament. Dortmund 38.4 million. It means that if they are using 70% of that money, it means that Job Bellingham expenditure, transfer expenditure, they were able to cover a year 69%. Now look at Inter Milan. They are also able to cover almost signings so far. Or 50%, and any Manchester City, especially Man City's Kawanyano, it's me cover 70% of that can. It's me cover Aitnurinkwa and I say Rancheki, Ediano. So in as much as people were talking about the money is good, and the exposure, the preseason, and the teams are about this tournament. A lot of teams are starting more preseason, but then I feel no break. They'll break for a week or 2, then they will return back. No matter
for Chelsea, Maresca said 3 weeks.
Yes, and but and now make us say some of the teams a week or two because Bimo if you want them to right now, I must start on my bed. So Chelsea ne PH probably 3 weeks, and they will come back and try the intensiveness. Even in this tournament, Asanso brought some of the coaches to try something, especially Enzo Maresca.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things are not all yet during the season, but this tournament particularly, or the year some take risk they try some adibia, and so it's my for so list to me in general. I think that the tournament how FIFA for a very good, but then I also look into some of the teams and how I'm performing, especially the group stage. And and they will check here. I think Savaras beating the group standings at to saw me. Palmares, Inter Miami. In fact, Inter Miami last, like I said, they were one of the teams I think that they surprised a lot of people. How they even qualified to be in the tournament was said, oh, now one slot, we have to give it to one of the hosting teams, and the people just didn't understand why Inter Miami, and they went through all the way. So now Group A. Now Obikacho said Inter Miami was going to find their way through FC Porto, Palmares, and Alia. People, wouldn't have even agreed to that. So Botafogo, any Paris Saint-Germain, Botafogo, so another team also 8 million betches. They're in South America, any Brazil, they play very good football because they were able to qualify ahead of Atletico Madrid. In fact, Uchaki Group C, I think that the two teams somewhere bigger will be able to Benfica and Bayern Munich be qualifying. These two teams were able to qualify in the Group D, and I think that Flamengo and Chelsea. These were the teams that people expect at least or make me called Group E. Inter Milan and River Plate. They were the clear favorites. So make me because River Plate a big club. They've been selling big players to a European class. So to say Enzo Fernandez was from River Plate just a few years ago. Sanso, and now check the Group F, Fluminense, Borussia Dortmund. Arguably, two teams are people would have betted say and commit me a qualify. Juventus, Manchester City, same thing here. And then Okupima, Real Madrid, and Salzburg. So I think that some of the teams be provided, but then the African teams I was quite surprised. Obi to say Ali. I was hoping Senka Ali last time I think we do final. Either semi-final or final. That is the last time the CAF Champions League no more the FIFA Club World Cup. No could do that stage. I think that they could have done better. And I think say Mamelodi Sundowns, so they did very well. But then the diamonds of the game, they had chances. Now committing their killing games, but then among close or more gaps here, and they also couldn't qualify. But then without AC, any Esperance, won't blame too much because they got into a group now because a very tough groups for them. So I think say the Brazilian clubs, the South American clubs, they prove that they are very good, and also the European clubs. And so actually the reason why always be more coefficient, and so also.
Okay, I'm sure on the field of play, especially in discussing performances, players are disappointing players are almost surprising money are there.
Well, I think to me, maybe if I will be talking about the players' performance, I will start by looking to a meeting of the tournament. Especially, I wasn't especially expecting anything from some of the players. So, to say, Kylian Mbappe like this, he entered this into the tournament and now on your feet. Some of the players too were injured. I will be so often on mobile. But then I think that some of the players did very, especially Al Hilal. Their players are free Europe. They showed in as much as they are playing the Saudi Pro League, they still have the talent. Even if I move back to Europe, they will play. Obitise Koulibaly, he played to the highest level. Yassin Bonucci before Obabe free Sevilla, Ababeko Ali, he made sure so team in the country Morocco, Eco World Cup, Eco could do anymore. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world currently. Yes, he still plays the Saudi Pro League. I think did very well. And they check the Paris Saint-Germain, arguably the best, and I say the best European team among the Champions League or mobile. All their players and they also proved live up to expectation. You said Dembele, he didn't start the tournament, but then Obemuno, you want the impact. You look at Messi in Inter Miami, they didn't. They almost surprised them for, but then they almost team, they have the talent, and Messi, Mo, Suarez, Mo, other people, no, whenever they had the chance, they were able to do. So I think that Ucheke, some of the players are on mobile tournament, no more showcase or Motabisa, I go Jesus, Palmares for player, Reus, the midfielder, Chelsea player, yeah, or Matono, Estavio, William. Most of the players are had the chance to showcase more talents, especially from most of the clubs at the Omodi say yes, if they Bibrina showcase I go Jesus say Oba Nottingham Forest. Another defender Helbert Fogo is also joining Nottingham Forest. Estavio William already na the say the transfer no I dandy. But then if I'm going to select some of the people or the players, I mean we say, oh, these are my team of the tournament. I think that I would have to select Gianluigi Donnarumma as my best goalkeeper of the tournament. In fact, Okipi, 5 clean sheets, making his crucial saves, and he conceded just 4 goals in the tournament. And back 1 was 3 was in the final, and 1 was straight from the group stages to the semi-final. Now I think Hakraf Hakimi, the performance and all that in the UEFA Champions League, he continued that in the tournament. Thiago Silva is in class, permanent, and he led the Fluminense team so. With that intensity, with that experience, and the mindset of Team Dombeshi at Chelsea, that was in the semi-final. I think that Thiago Silva will be there with the long-term counterpart, Marquinhos of PSG.
So the team of the tournament, as official one, but now I was looking at a player who disappointed money at the team of the tournament, Bonu and a Dapos name, Ashraf Hakimi, Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, Cucurella, Vitinha, Enzo Fernandez, Kopama, Pedro Neto, Arias, and Garcia from Real Madrid. So this is the official team with FIFA for the tournament, the official
Yeah, so then I think that Marco Cucurella will also complete the set for me. I think that in midfield I'll go for Vitinha and Enzo Fernandez, Desire Doué, Cole Palmer, Pedro Neto, and Abrantandi, Garcia. I think that is some few difference from the FIFA for no and so Ediaba. Yeah.
What players been no disappointing?
I wasn't expecting so much from some of the players.
At least they came.
Yes, anytime I say,
class. So obviously,
if I'm saying that player be disappointing me, all the players that I was looking up to, at least Obi to put their performance, they did their best. Obi deserve Ocheke Inter Miami team now. Suarez they did their best, but then at the end of the day, they met a PSG. Ocheke Real Madrid there now. Because you were hoping say Kylian Mbappe will live up to the expectation, but then Mbappe didn't start the tournament. Was it 1 game or was it 2 games back off bench by? And I think in the second game so to me, I wasn't expecting so much from some of the players, especially Ocheke Man City team now. I don't know any player, especially new signers, Obia living up to expectation. You look at Real Madrid players Obeka say their last game against PSG because some of the players in worst ever performance for class. But aside from that, I don't see any player be or buy ever have some best performance because any worst ever performance for any club. So to me, I wasn't expecting so much from some of the players, but Omona na minimum say they will live up to expectation. They did that.
When me share players are almost disappointing me. I think Asensio of Real Madrid, you need him good performance or that in the Champions League or not very crucial, especially Real Madrid getting into that quarterfinal stage or Mukodu, and in the FIFA Club World Cup, one or by into the tournament, you any penalties or the chair, you share red card to and even in their last game against Paris Saint-Germain, a poor performance from them. I think he's one player. He was one of the most disappointing players for me, and say one chance to Tonyama year. I wouldn't be surprised. Xavi Alonso will be looking at Real Madrid signing another centre back because to me now in a tournament for just 1 month and you have 3 errors or 3 things that led to them conceding and now causing your team but so if a player performing here in this tournament. I think John Arias, one player at the age of 27. I think no Biampo him no baby. But coming into this tournament, we share the role of play my team FN Feminezi, being their key man, we share free kick or share in the FIFA Club World Cup, na performance no show. And another player, I think he was a surprise package for me, João Pedro. Coming into this Chelsea setup, player, tournament starting, no a Brighton player, no holidays, Gineni. But no him said there would be interest from Chelsea into Onwaka say, next or cutting the holidays, and starting training and Oba into the Chelsea setup, and this Oba be join you keke, ebe added to numbers. But Oba, in 3 games, and I'm even say 2.5 games, with him share 3 goals, which were crucial goals, 2 in the semi-final, and also 1 in the final. A Boama Chelsea team cement on FIFA Club World Cup. So he play a bit of Kopamo, team winning player of the tournament. The next player can make me a call for either João Pedro or John Arias. I think say they put up a good performance, making sure say omoba ebe bo mu team able to the highest level.
Okay, yeah, share Endra game, the final in focus, the opening ceremony, the closing ceremony, and everything.
Yes, Indra game it was a good game for Chelsea fans. I think not to be such Chelsea fan be on how they can dominate the game or how they can put pressure on a team like Paris Saint-Germain. Obia ain't me mouse say Chelsea beat me accord with the 3-0 send you Indra because nobody him say Paris Saint-Germain set up they dominate games. Send your kind in the tournament now before the Chelsea game no one consider just once against Botafogo team beyond Beshiani bia omuntimation and even in the day back Botafogo and the team Paris Saint-Germain almost getting to 12 games no consider and sana Botafogo babesheno and sana after that on san two so into no a team bia getting goals against them ya de back heading because they press you and they make sure say you don't get the chance to be able to score them but they Enzo Maresca and the Chelsea boys need to be proved say yes. There are weak links in this Paris Saint-Germain setup. From afar, it do be him because on Friday me count has a Chelsea person Paris Saint-Germain. It's either they are trying to break the press. Now some bit me break press now. It's the route one type of football going long to their striker or going long to one player so they can start in the Paris Saint-Germain half. I think Enzo Maresca can suit me who's had and I was looking at saying can Chelsea be explore Hakimi side anymore. But in this game, Maresca Maeti as I say Mendes Oko long on the side is also a disadvantage or is also a weak link to the Paris Saint-Germain setup and he explored it and Anyamako lineup no Chelsea echo with a normal 4-2-3-1. You will say regime say beam which a lot of Chelsea fans I think not they weren't expecting regimes to come in the middle. No meaning the Paris Saint-Germain mostly no more control Finfini to beat say regime say Finfini or never having but Maresca no on the plans or to me strategize here a buano. João Pedro coming in performance from the semi-final and they're likely to beat me rim. Paris Saint-Germain they need him to they'll go with their normal formation in the game. So the way at Chelsea set it up it was similar to their previous games and no more bono. Gusto will touch the weight. Now we are friends Pedro Neto to touch other weight, allowing the likes of Kopama to come into those half spaces. Enzo Fernandez going into those half spaces. Rhys James, a cover, Amagusto, especially so Kone Nimbebra, and also 1 or 2 things. Or Caicedo, on any day, Caicedo would like to step in and make sure say Omulusubo anyway he'll be able to recover and recover well. Okay, Paris Saint-Germain set up now their normal formation and they'll come into every game. I think in this game they were missing one crucial player. That was Pacho. Because if Pacho was in the game, he would have proven to be a good cover for Mendes, especially timer. Nagusto, any Kopama, air double up, so. But I think Maresca, because Maresca against Robertis, or my as I say, or no a crucial gamer, or Tenase monitor teams, no. And monitor teams in the game to me who said this is a particular game I can use to explore. Into Friday, me can say there are 4 games. I say Maresca, it's mission ye. The Paris Saint-Germain Liverpool, Paris Saint-Germain Aston Villa, Paris Saint-Germain Botafogo, and a Paris Saint-Germain and a Bayern Munich. And I think to share the type of player Chelsea boy Chelsea fans and far about Subodi Bibiema Robert Sanchez. I think there've been times almost criticizing the pan, but if Chelsea were to get the best out of the game, a bit now Robert Sanchez long boss or boy in Indra so ball long boss 20 a mobile 15 it me call baby and then so echo And that shows the quality of a goalkeeper in that post, Emma Chelsea. The likes of Cole Palmer and him said they are big game players. And be into the games to explore and make sure say Nyama. After the game, Enzo Maresca said after 10-15 minutes, who said Chelsea were going to win the game because he was expecting PSG to press them in the first 10-15 minutes. Said I'm can't say PSG on board in the first 30 minutes. The first 30 minutes, a goal, they will keep on pressuring you till they get a second goal. Now, Oshe, the style of player these two teams are boy. Chelsea were playing like the PSG we know. Oshe he himself normal say Chelsea in the Premier League. Chelsea should go back on bet na see diagra na second half no. Either say team never be concede and now so second goal. We don't see Chelsea scoring 3, and I think the last time Chelsea shared 4 goals in the first half was against Brighton. Cole Palmer shared that 4 goals. Apart from that, the Chelsea go into game at first half, they will try to dominate and play well. But Maresca and who is a Paris Saint-Germain, no, one disadvantage in their setup is they don't have a good bench. In TNA, so Oyi Desire Day, Oyi we Scalia. Players here, they don't have similar qualities to Omo and Omo Park. So that is their disadvantage. So mostly, Luis Enrique setting the team up, said they can dominate you in the first half, win the game in the first half, and second half, we're resting the players next or rest them. And where your friend is saying, Enzo Maresca and Adrian said he would also force and put the pressure in the first half. And I think Senka Chelsea take your chances in 9 years, and I would have seen a 5-0 or 6-0 in the FIFA Club World Cup final because of chances of Munyaye, the likes of Dilap Munsu Bemu ever bomb more than so. Yeah, the basketball member Enzo Maresca, he was able to explore. And they Wamayati say another weak link in the Paris Saint-Germain setup, Nuno Mendes, especially on long balls. In TNA, you Nuno Mendes, the 1v1s, they say Betchino. But they so called long on the swar, or finding it very difficult to mark his players. And then they were doubling up on him. A honor the likes of Fabian Luiz, Vertinha, Mons with their defensive works, named Timyamboa. In TNA. Okay,
yeah. So with Chelsea point of view, will you say now people will shut up on Enzo Maresca if says or believe say this game I need regimes at the midfield?
Yes, I think tactically, not Chelsea fans need be doubting Maresca on especially trying to try regimes in the middle. But they've been countless times that Enzo Maresca and Chelsea fans at say who you players are or Gio Mudipan with team Numa, Malo Gusto one key player. Time be your cancer in the Conference League final or cancer Malo Gusto one of the key players. Now Oshe Adi Augusto the man and cap on a normal those times like regimes man is about regimes in his legs no. So on himself regimes are very good on the ball, which be protected ball near. So he coming into the middle, the back wa explore, but you who's a Chelsea fans they criticize it baby. Anytime Chelsea use that thing and go on to lose and I go on to draw games. In TNA, I think he has been able to make people understand why he goes with those things. And not just any game, but against one of the best teams in Europe. And one of the best teams even in the world. In TNA, so it's me explore it me afar. Now, I think the Chelsea game, now Enzo Maresca and Adrian say be Oboko Palmer and right back. I don't think Chelsea fans will complain because he has been able to explore and also proving to them say he can be able to do anything. Or the team now, send your man access or buy or profile players nini na no nim ejumo bi abetimi aye no. And they were done the my Chelsea fan be na be criticizing Enzo Maresca. You nim say tagging as a championship manager and they no championship manager ba be dem but they will prove it to the highest level. Luis Enrique, yemfa bibian to nchen onye coach a eba no club footballer odi agro. On the J treble ma Barcelona or Sambeji treble ma Paris Saint-Germain or dominate especially when it comes to the European scene. And they with me are shutting the system to the extent say now Luis Enrique in the second half next so Timmy explore in the second half Uyi Hakimi at the midfield about could be man or call with a 3-back solid. Say you meet me explore channels no on Chelsea, but still into me and so say a coach to me outsmarty a world-class coach to say Luis Enrique. You should know what he brings and what he would also bring with this Chelsea team going forward.
Okay. All right, yeah.
Yes. At least I think another game was a final. It was a very good final, and people didn't expect, especially like the UEFA Champions League final. And they say people didn't even expect the scoreline and everything. But then, before last week, the last edition of Sports Arena, we mentioned clearly on paper, PSG favorite, bookmakers be their favorites. But then if Chelsea people shouldn't be surprised. And Michelle said this season, especially in the Chelsea game now, clearly as a almost style of play, just like PSG, and even PSG coach Luis Enrique, Ebeka said Chelsea play like them. But the thing is, PSG team, this is a team they are in the phase 2 or second year Abra coach in the world. Last season they did very well, and then this season, what team say when you need team and they want conquer Europe, I'm gonna be on the PSG with team. Even if you the score lines or the share Inter Milan, especially the UEFA Champions League final, the other year Real Madrid, any other team said Chelsea, they have a very good team now. I think say before I give me the best starting, and I'm proud to this tournament. People write Chelsea off, and a lot of people were saying that PSG are big teams and Chelsea partner no names. And last week, I said, if you look clearly at the FIFA Club World Cup 2025 path and any three now, Chelsea one way or the other would have even met 2 top European giants before competing in the final. But then Inter Milan and Man City, they couldn't reach where they could meet Chelsea. It means that all the teams in Chelsea share one way or the other scored one of Inter Milan and one of Manchester City. So I say PSG ne Dortmund abo anoni buy abo oni Madrid abo into Chelsea ne Palmeiras Benfica ne Fluminense boy. You are getting things right because Mr. Chelsea Botafogo who scored PSG, Palmeiras scored them, and a Palmeiras be share Chelsea. Benfica na or share Bayern Munich in the group stage, you know. That Benfica met Chelsea and Chelsea scored them. Same applies to Hilana or share Manchester City. No, he went to meet Fluminense and Fluminense scored them until Ansana Fluminense so share Inter Milan and Chelsea shares that Fluminense. So all day the number of teams and the number we are a mistake. But then if you look at who beat Chelsea 6 games in the FIFA Club World Cup, and you look at Chelsea PSG 6 games, that means that they all lost 1 game. But who lost to Botafogo and one also lost to AF Flamengo. And that is the case that Chelsea for no has started DBB. Now in my points, I will come to the Chelsea project. But then my main red game before I line up in the bus no. And work here Friday no. Once I catch you say who scored for the report about say Chaloba. And I hear the defender or the highest pass rate. Is it the most passes rate? This is a virus between the Chaloba and not Somia. And they after the game, Chelsea bowie against PSG. And no more they are to say who scored for national positive games. Trevor Chaloba, and you had the highest pass success rate, 96.7 of any player at the Club World Cup.
Okay.
And you see, the idea sounds so much. I don't know. I say the story behind Chaloba is at least a year ago today. Chaloba was captaining Chelsea under 21 until recent picture. Chaloba was captaining Chelsea under 21 when Chelsea were near America pre-season. He was at the Cobham. Our under 21 team no. Every match or captain more normal ball match. I think Blue Men would a baby. And a year ago today, this is a player that Chelsea didn't regard him so bet me abobo nibi. Do here picture now. This picture was when Chelsea for pre-season and a Chaloba near 21 for captain one more match. And then fast forward, Crystal Palace called him back. Then the player is it's an advice to all the players. They are players that currently coach but then if you kept on working hard, now your GD say once you are playing ball, you have to adapt to systems. And if you are able to adapt, there's still a chance for you to still get your place. And then several day line up on Chelsea, especially Chelsea lineup settings no as a what tactical board no so before the game. Money man make aside who line up no say Charlie line up where me Chelsea can win the game. I needed to see that Chelsea had the players. I met me, I hold the and I met me overload the midfield and also the players whenever I met me hold the weight. Now Chelsea lineup now. Me Enzo Maresca from day one, when he can catch us, he's a tactical genius, and the fact that he's been able to say Nebo no Obono, let's possess the game, let's take control of the game. But there are several ways and means I be defending, and several ways and means I be attacking. And the man idea made the coach na say your coach bo ha or your one way. Or coach game ni na watching asem na. It is very difficult to and your coaches bo ha. They have several ways but Enzo Maresca in one game he can implement different strategies obetim their winning game. And na ya dey na happen day in day out since about Chelsea. But the thing is na players na answer enyan kokwa what he wants to do. So once the players na see the strategy, who the plan, that is where Obe integrated different strategies and different factors into the game. This was how Chelsea set it up. Chelsea line up in the bar, 4 back, 4-2-3-1 formation. That is Gusto, Chaloba, Kowo, Enima Kukuera, James, Caicedo, James replaces Romeo Lavia in this situation. Enzo Fernandez as the number 10, Palmer, Ebo as from the left wing, Pedro Neto from the right. Palmer from the right wing, Pedro Neto from the left wing, and Joao Pedro LED lines. No, but then we share the second picture now. All right now, if Chelsea are in possession and if Chelsea, yes, are almost man-to-man pressing now. This is how it looking. Joao Pedro hold the weight from the other side, and Gusto overlapping. Eko hold the weight from the right side for Kopama to also enter into the midfield. Now, Washa, especially Enzo Maresca post match, he mentioned say. They made the game very difficult for PSG, and Chelsea won the game in the first 10 minutes. And I agree with that. When me hear a game, no, first 2 minutes, he beat you more press 2 times. And I was like, nah, that is what I'm looking for. And Rebecca, Friday, me catch you say, if Chelsea are going to win this game, they have 3 things to do. 1, to beat PSG for press. No. 2, to get their passes right. Because PSG for how they press. Unya a 40 pass. That is what they will be with you. And I made reference to Madrid game now. Under 10 minutes, now Madrid that G2. It wasn't say PSG for the working game because it was almost pressure and almost press. And the mistakes are defenders of Asensio and Rudiger here and almost the punish. And in this case, Chelsea defenders, Chelsea, and then our last one because say, if Sanchez, it's me back to the party in terms of the saves. And getting his passes right, Chelsea, I'll have so much belief that Chelsea is going to win this game. And gladly they did that. In the first 2 minutes in the game, BT PSG press several times. And then after that, they were having their passes so right. And you see, there's one thing I realize about Caicedo, and people don't talk so much about it. And the forward passes. He doesn't play more back passes, only Romeo Lavia. And the idea ball, and you see, Chelsea, when Chelsea are attacking that pitch on the right side, so Gusto could hold it with her. Chelsea to have 5 players in phase 1, and have 5 players in phase 3, and have phase 4 of our attack. Into what James and Caicedo, right in front of Marco Cuellar, Levi Colwill, and Brandon Chaloba. Then in attack, they also have numbers, and they knew that PSG was going to press them man to man. So the moment PSG will press them on major the wide space, not because many can catch was a PSG for boss interpositional play, no, and that is one thing. And Enzo Maresca no more the last game I saw Enzo Fernandez doing same thing with Caicedo, and in that game, Vitinha Ekwana say Nuno Mendes Eka back 3 no one. Kopama are running to the half space, so he doesn't know say Uncle Kopama and Uncle Malo Gusto. But then if the ball on the left side, you cannot open wide because there is a space in the middle there. So you have to close that space. In the several day, one of the pictures are pitch now Chelsea for line up now. Not mention DB. So ball on this side, won't me for attention, my player no wide. You have to do attention. Yes, Emma player now or you closer to. So this is Chelsea line up when they are attacking. Malo Gusto ask me kind of Friday, they be hold the weight. Pedro Neto will hold the weight. Then 3 players or 4 players in the midfield to overload and also take it that spaces. No? And now Chelsea played according to our strengths. And Mr. Ansoka said, if Chelsea are able to take their chances, they will do it. And they over Chelsea setup now. Who is the most clinical player in the Chelsea setup? It is Kopama. So they played in a certain way. Chelsea put me accommodate or more clinical player in the setup. After the game, when man catch him say, Vincent, I feel kind of say, sir, Nuno Mendes only the weakest link in defense. And I'm just no. Nuno Mendes is not the weakest link.
He was isolated.
Yes.
And
yes,
two players they targeted him.
And me catch money man say, would him say Hakimi, a player bia, or quite any more. And even if a da Nuno Mendes grab a quite any more, Vinti a cross answer then, a babaji. But the thing is, they knew that always Biano, Hakimi qua, PSG for no, could provide support. Edema Hakimi. And Enzo Maresca, in the post match, or say, or share several games of Luis Enrique at Barcelona, at Spain, and at PSG. And who say they believe that Nuno Mendes, in terms of defending, one supporting the baby he can do the work. So on my attention about, and that is their tactical, the brilliance are Enzo Maresca, Eddie takes a Charlie. In as much as Hakimi ko anymore, they still have people, 2 or 3 players covering at that side. But at the left side, I'm not doing costing to let's utilize that.
But
and it's sometimes for
yeah, true.
And it took them by surprise.
Obian him say, baby a team attack for a honor weakness.
Yes.
But for the coach to know, say.
Now explore their
let me omo toughest side one na was say me
overload let me this place the more
other side one that I should be wary say omo create chances or right to get nyina nim senka omo ba animu a ina ba Ashraf Hakimi na ba animu na nka ya boys na chi but in this case he didn't do that.
Yeah,
he allowed. Is it not maybe because of the goalkeeper? Because you see, because of the goalkeeper. Chelsea goalkeeper. No? Because you see, they will attack from here. So you will defend from their side. So all the time, say Okoye when you pass to the goalkeeper. So the goalkeeper will get the view on the right side. It's one shot. The long balls, Nini na oboni say, and Nini na basse biano oboni say. Yes. Instead of say, player on the most press from this side. Because almost create overload to that side. To press it, say. So you see goalkeeper any weakness to ensure that obey me attacking from that.
But so, one thing I'm hearing about Luis Enrique setup, they say, send an Vicente Cheche mu Chelsea. Say no more so but kwa scalia mostly no on dropping beboa because omo overload no attach weight ni wa. Inti ball no mo ball ha na switch ko ne ho a no ma sande aba inti say wo hwe most of the time no nka on any day I was expecting Luis Enrique say do baby no kwa scalia ebe track gusto runs na nka ono nso etima hwe palma but sa na omo nso attacking no ebe slow amom.
Don't you think say because of the approach at Chelsea fire say yam route one instead of say because the enemy say creature or drop it be defended but it was a ball in Mbappe by the time I will na
yes
the other quality way to us
yes until least to as I was saying Enzo Maresca especially in the press conference some guys say they know that PSG will
press and Chelsea
because now I say they had a plan how to hit PSG and I say anybody Pochettino Thomas Tuchel and City
yeah.
Ochi City Eshe City 3 times in a space of 2 weeks. At that time, City were at the apex in Europe. But then Thomas Tuchel had a way to split on defense, And in your first game, Guardiola tactical one in the league or Chelsea 2-1. In the Carabao Cup or the formation, and in the final, overthinking here is on more player game about 4-2-2-2-2. Yes, so Chelsea had it easy. Most of the times, great coaches, they have ways of defending and attacking. But Medical said this PSG team, make one Friday say they are not so superior so beyond me sure. I hear Claire say who overloaded midfield. Now Utiminya players are they can right or make them running through the channels. You can score them this season. Liverpool share. That's why the facts about Anfield be Liverpool. Unyani homework in the right and be Liverpool. Or shall Aston Villa association of Villa Park, Strasbourg, and Nice. The last Friday back high. Make us did all these games. And I realized how they score this team. So they have weakness. But the thing is, if you are if you cannot stop them, it is very hard to stop them from scoring. And I quite say no. Chelsea give them the taste of their own medicine.
Okay.
Because here, but PSG or all the big teams are or some social keep clean sheet. And yesterday Chelsea did that. So I quite say Enzo Maresca no. And when he can say day in day out, he's learning and the idea it's me boy no man. You see this too. in as much as Chelsea and the individual performance and brilliance from the Chelsea players na bomo because na money man ka Kvaratskhelia then so who Kvaratskhelia who drop it deep so who babe cover good network the moment a PSG for the mobile ball recovery no who will be at the other side and Pedro Neto did so much because and Cucurella invented Cucurella was still there saying all my desire doing and Pedro Neto was tracking back to attack Hakimi, and that is one thing that Eboye, and that is one thing Real Madrid was not doing because Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Junior were not tracking back. So Frank Garcia and Rudiger na pressure near them, and then with Sanchez there no, when you passes in right, make sure Chelsea will go long balls no more times. The neighbors and fast Sanchez starting into Sumami. If Liverpool PSG for the press war, make sure say checking on moment first in Chelsea midfielders now. They are not even ahead of Chelsea midfielders because the Caicedo any age now PSG team no in as much as they have a very good midfielders no, they don't have a typical number 6 obetime clear boss instead the Caicedo here no, but they are very good kita ball na heading so obetime ajibo na free so and aside that we compare Kopama to Fabian Ruiz there's no difference between Fabian in as much as about PSG or form onimbo ne bon send Kopama Vintia any Enzo Fernandez both are elite top midfielders. Any day if Chelsea is also performing at the highest level, you can also do that comparison. So technically, Obi say Joao Neves like this, and Maresca can say in midfield they had 3 midfielders, and almost job now Chelsea here say on players they can match the intensity and the speed of these players. So he had Moise Caicedo, any regimes to cover for Joao Neves. I'm afraid in N'Golo Kante with Flair and Fabian Ruiz. And only by our say in any day over Chelsea team no pay 2 good tacklers. You not mention 2 players on board Caicedo any regimes. There's a reason why regimes so share bring the so many good or he can win the ball at any time. So these players it was a done deal. And Enzo Fernandez, the intensity of the ball, Vintia couldn't match. And say Enzo Sukita ball and say Vintia so Enzo have ways and means that all the team there Vintia every whether about diagonal pass, about long balls, and even the Chelsea midfield, Caicedo was able to play that forward passes. And regimes who pressing too much. The technique, about that long pass, no, and if she pass, Levi Cowell, Edema, Palmer, and weak foot, that assist, no, I'm for Jamaso. When PSG for press your mono, upon it is a hole, there's a space for Palmer. In the weak foot, pack and on the toe for Palmer to run, and in the right pace, no, actually a third goal now. Palmer J ball or running 50 yards, and there were a lot of spaces between PSG or more attacking third and more defensive third. No, a lot of spaces because PSG ampa who spaces now they don't want to say Chelsea stretchy game anymore. And Enzo Maresca before about Chelsea, Sane interview be no tactical analysis be now man for every trend here. No, that is how ball or creative over the left side, and then you will get a midfielder to play that long diagonal pass to you. And it's a very bit man we na Keska. These are the goals. Chelsea goals from Michel. A pass to Malo Gusto. That pass no a long ball na accurate long ball because we intercepted but when you full grip of the when it's a ball and when or chested ball no or didn't ball and on no copy Gusto so he couldn't have full control of the ball. Then Oteto and Gusto in cool clear chance. See where Kopama was. Obi anyhow that same number 10 position especially in the first season at Chelsea. No nya that boss no. Boss never had there's no other player. I'll be smashes our ball, especially who check it 1 year ago and Spain and England ball Euro final. Go no share same position. Now look at the third goal and the second goal or share. Ball now and they Levi Cowell and about long pass with weak foot. See the pass and there's a reason why the Chelsea hierarchy they believe in so much in Levi Cowell. And no a defender. But I think
But I think with second goal no. Credit be bring Koma João Pedro with that run.
Oh yes, because the movement is Kopama in your ball. He needed to create space for himself.
Yes.
Especially for the first goal like this. And João Pedro, at that time it was Vinci and attacking João Pedro. So João Pedro make he run. And Palmer, if he say or pass it to clear Vinci from the space. Now Aka Berardo. He or Sanso FK shot and a Berardo to who at that moment Berardo to who or Sanso in that same space and a perfect angle to beat a player goalkeeper like Donnarumma. And you see, we are not even talking about the goal. to beat a goalkeeper like Gianluigi Donnarumma in a space of almost bare 10 minutes at the same angle, at the same technique, when you power.
And the can Bobby,
yes,
or the 5 year man.
You see, virus in fact, Kais Kukurela, the end to Sumami. 50 minutes in the game. Kukurela a clearance be. Me who and I'm saying, we are going to win this game. In as much as now it's me try say virus and check one. In as much as now try say you best stop PSG for me can't say PSG for list. You cannot stop them from creating. But if they create their chances, you have to be able to say obey to my Chelsea chances on ya. Jambo chances be branch of Kukurela. This saves so back 50 minutes into the game. This
was the highlight of the game.
Yes.
Because I can go way to more.
Yes.
Chelsea be brave.
And if you desire to sunya bobia, the other share was it Bayern Munich?
Yes.
Same thing. And Sanchez shit. Ball. Indeed, yesterday everything worked perfectly for Chelsea team. Defending.
I think with this too, Desire Day was disappointing because no or clear chance.
You say no, clear. We have been on the share interno. So as the defender, ube defender will face. But the anticipation from Kukurela, and I'll say Bonabasu, top defending. And I didn't say Kukurela, so at least to check game there. Everything and Sanchez statistics in the game. Echo say, I mean he was up there. Malo Gusto, especially that best man performance. Rona Malo Gusto boy, it's the same role I'm born against Robertis. We also, but now. Sanchez making 6 crucial saves in this game. Malo Gusto need performance in that game. The numbers Onyaye, the goals, assists, long balls, key passes, and the accurate passes Onyaye was so crucial in the game. Copa Madia, me person can ask because watches 6 finals and 3 finals were providing 6 goals. Watches in fact he's a world class. And before game, me catch was a Chelsea for a projecting. To be a world beater, to be one of the best players in the world, and then there to be on the big stage, or announcing, especially those big spaces. And they check team starter. Mikacho say there's a reason why some of the teams they are not able to match up with PSG team because of the intensity of PSG team. They have one of the youngest team in the tournament, and Chelsea team more younger than PSG team. So they were able to manage the intensity, aggressiveness. And no, me won't be that. So back Madrid game no, any PSG game. Maybe catch how PSG were recover the number of seconds normally recover on ball 23 seconds. Virus beats mine can see Chelsea game in terms of possession, passes completed, attempt on targets, everything. Not PSG ahead of Chelsea. But then check it ball recovery time. Let's to check it 32 seconds. PSG 33. So the team now averagely on any ball game 23 seconds. Chelsea overcome side no 32. Chelsea lose ball 32 seconds. No matter recover ball. So it tells you say Omuma PSG team no a very tough game. The Chelsea players and the hierarchy they are very good. And they used to virus and Enzo Maresca ne regimes video no to sumami. So where can the last time the guy said time at Chelsea. Now you are running against Fluminense area. Now Enzo Maresca ne Enzo Fernandez. Omujina bench and watch church in Adibi. This is the game. People are saying say maybe not all catch a gym say what do this ball right now. Number 2 on put the you any free. After game now yaji cap now you know. On any captain tactical omu can't wait. Omako break his say sure some players now that. I'm matching one. No Frank I say do. Maybe who be who ni mistake be. So this is a coach day in day out. He's learning, and the Chelsea project they are doing. I think say when almost started here, a lot of people were saying a lot of things, and the players naka and the coach Chelsea players no could do the team hotel how happy they are, how much money they are sending warning, and people say oh yes we are back. People didn't believe them. In fact, especially in the post match, people were saying that Chelsea are talking too much, and I was like no. These are interviews. Omubi the first 50 minutes training for Chelsea. Media men for calling interview and about out. When Paris Saint-Germain are doing their training, their interviews come on, but people believe that there's some so why are you talking too much? James said that they are going to surprise people on Sunday, and Levi co-worker said we are not Madrid, we are not Inter Milan, and people are saying Chelsea are talking too much. It means that they knew how to hit PSG team, no, and they did that. And while Chelsea team, I think that a step in the right direction for them. Enzo Maresca first season at Chelsea, at least to waje the Conference League. That is at least to win a silverware waje trophy.
And that is a trophy he came to meet.
Yes, he came to meet.
Yeah.
In fact, Obo League, Obo Premier League, Obo FA Cup, boy EFL Olus, but he was able to win at least one of the tournament. No, Obo. Now, I did Chelsea for the last 3 years to get a Champions League football. Or secure my also for my Champions League. Now again, the FIFA Club World Cup. And you catch a players in this tournament. Also, no, he was part of the technical team. Omoje treble, and also Omoje Champions League. But with how FIFA projected this tournament, you know, a time will come. This tournament will even be a key, a bit more important than the Champions League. Go after all, Champions League in Chelsea are too. Now FIFA, why am I say the FIFA Club World Cup? You are changing the previous one. I know. Intercontinental champions and a cup. So now Chelsea is the only club to have won the first ever FIFA Club World Cup tournament. And they've won every 4 years. Every 4 years, behind the Chelsea will have that badge, world champions. Oh, I told him for next 4 years, the Chelsea fans know. Oh, your virus now need me chinia. Why the Champions League 50? I say, we Europe champions, me a world champion. Why the Champions League 15 year? But me, you ban FIFA Club World Cup. Unjibi. Me the only club, the best club in the world. And your friend UEFA champion Europe, but we are the world. So I'm at Chelsea for no, the bragging right. And the pieces and the puzzle are not Chelsea for no. It seems as if they are getting everything right. Now there are a lot of players, remember, who had this Chelsea setup. Where Pedro Neto was holding. And clearly that you'll be to say Jimmy Gates. Say Chelsea fans they say Joao Pedro Rodrigo twerking for Chelsea team no. Go akoko comment Joao Pedro is Neniaji said Joao Pedro tournament, and I think the signings they are all making impact, and as an instant impact to the team. And Estavio Willian will come. Imagine Estavio Willian playing not Chelsea because now we are playing against maybe a bit to say a team in the Premier League. We will not need maybe 4 midfielders in the game. So we will play one of Caicedo, then about 2 number 10. Then Estavio occupy the other side. If team need now share the projections and the kind of players are not almost signed from the first time. It means that the sporting directors, Paul Stanley, Joe Shedmo, they had a plan how the team wanted to play. Into no bar. Look at the number of the kind of wingers not more signing. Direct wingers to make him holding the weight. Look at the kind of midfielders especially Enzo Fernandez. Now you're more fair signing, and not enough Enzo Fernandez is because at that time he had won the World Cup with Brazil. Argentina. Awaji, the young player of the tournament. Madrid was on train before summer. Then Chelsea, Rui Costa, and your friend is saying Egbali Muko Kontokwa. Still boy any buy a lot of things or buy some Charlie. Enzo Fernandez and no ni postman so or buying. He wasn't well with the intensity, with the pressure. Not Obogi Moon feeling well. He had to search for trainers until Onya a proper trainer and ne body no and then the physique ability to the Premier League and people are still regarding him and Chelsea for now. So the players, there's a reason why they started this project with young players. And Medi Kanka said in football, the Chelsea fans, we should accept the change. And now on Twitter, a lot of people are, but say no more yet, they didn't like Enzo Maresca. They've all come to realize a time. Because Roman Abramovich era, it was something that now Chelsea are more good football. All we have to do is Charlie, your top already made players. They come and win us trophy. Oba now Oba be sebi. Oba yes and Kupa Sembia. Yebepamo. See the number of coaches at Chelsea. Oba Uji League second season, one Jikrani Apam, but then they should know that with these American owners, they are coming to change a culture. But there's one culture entering your Chelsea that is strong title winning. And on by the third season, people shouldn't forget when they came. You bought FA Cup and you bought EFL finals against Liverpool. You listen, say officiating was very bad. So the culture of winning titles for Chelsea, they've managed to maintain that culture. But that culture and say Kokoto already made players to come in. They've changed that and then now people are getting to know say Charlie, Nkofon players, they better players be brave. Omuto players be brave now. Mbe fast system now, mbet me, mbenya akuma dem. God into me my casa big club, and you play be about big club. I've been around players and most say and you play be about big club. because of pressure ne wom so mo to won bebre ha and even how they are selling the players crowd am go to sa player France ni is it Kuchuku oh me for da ba ku kofa no free Rene o Nigeria din bi sa
Amugu
Debbie me DM Tintin
Leslie
Ogochukwu am dey say Ogochukwu might find it very difficult to enter into the Chelsea now omo ton Amugu yam kofa no free Saint-Etienne omo ton am Strasbourg they use the Chelsea name to buy the player because Strasbourg na kofa na nkomu nya no because at that time big clubs of France Marseille they were chasing the boy so what your project on na in the next 5 years Chelsea team no more money wo Robert Sanchez na no do in 27 and Tosin 27 all the players 2020 so in the next 5 years if Maresca Chelsea sign in 5 years we're trying to 1 year kind of 4 years if Chelsea top players man it means that in the next 4 years Chelsea a favorite to win the Premier League in the next 4 years. They are favorite to win maybe the Champions League in the next 4 years. They are favorite to win any other tournament and a trophy bia in the next 4 years because the coach is also young. The players are also young. I'll meet me about next 5, 4, 7 years. So I think that to me a lot of people are surprised, but I wasn't surprised. Chelsea won the game because my measure say PSG are a very good side. But they are not prone say ubintimin show this top.
Yes, congratulations to Chelsea for winning this particular trophy. A lot of narrative, a lot of disrespect, a lot of harsh words on the coach Enzo Maresca. I think that now everybody will know say he's not just ordinary coach. I've said if you are looking at one of the most creative coaches in the game, he is one of them. If not the best, he is one. He comes into a game to ensure that every detail of the game will given out to the players. Always. So maybe a game against Brighton and Hove Albion. And I'll say it was a game, a gene in some near the other. But no crown that time, na injuries are setting in. The key players no money. I will be to say Nicholas Jackson, and now that time we building the team around him. And it was very difficult for him at that period. But say yenko game, na yema yenye plan ye dia ko game na memfa no coach na show. Ayanaka execution, and it appears that he has gotten the players on to me execute amano. And then when they say you get your chance, you score. Because PSG in your first chance. It was clear sana komese nyebiem. It was clear sana komese nyebiem. But the moment that Chelsea nya share first goal no. Na akwa say now they need to come out more. Now say Chelsea who say hey Charlie ya shenkrofo ne ba ko. The confidence will start rising. Players will be more aware. Defenders will be what? Will be alert because the team is leading by 1 goal. Inti any kwan say wala hono mo beti kano. Then the second goal came. Then the third goal came. That is the coach for you. The system created a lot of chances. That is why some of us young say obi say Nicholas Jackson or African. But I don't have any sympathy for him. I don't have any sympathy for him because Sanke coach we are and the crucial time will be what free what co injury ko palma form article the striker be any ho now against Newcastle Chelsea here draw to keep the distance between Omoni or Newcastle now what could do sakwa ko wo be no am red card America knowing say in your absence the team struggled. Could the red card? And yes, any mana. Obroni ne the obeka say no. Akwa we man hwe obesa madwuma. E de amame. What you say? Obesa madwuma dem. And 2 players are back. These 2 players. It is clear say they are ahead of Nicholas Jackson. And omo nyina prove Andra Liam Delap Bemu. Even that shot alone na otumi boy ye nko actually say Oweni Mose Nicholas Jackson. So he's a coach who is going to help Chelsea, and I hope that everything will go as planned there will not be any what team will come behind. The only thing about me distracted this project and say if you are coaching any players, no, the relationship will break. Say be a bit break, but I think say the man management so you okay because Joao Felix, even Rhys James, Noni Madueke, Muni are there. There was no instance I won't say there was a issue bia ewo omoni ni ntamni ade iti no aya wa na obeko this is any Joao Felix mo push e move away Renato Viega mo push move away Noni Madueke mo kone ade no se ban critical ya wa na obeko because at the end of the player power no en succeed because the owners no ewo gidi o coach ni mu the technical any sporting directors no omo gidi o coach ni mu it is either you follow him or they throw you under the bus. That is why Rhys James do to me say role no born and any ho but obebo ne sa only option bia it it was a very good game. Hopefully they will have the 3 weeks break abia ebenya 1 or 2 sign. Even if we don't sign anybody, I feel say we are good to go. Our midfield is solid. Our defense, Chaloba, Jesus Christ, Chaloba, mama who said Nyankopon ti ase pa. He's the only person I want who say Nyankopon ti ya etiase na odone ma. Sa wo ho na wo doubt bia say okokroko bi e wo soro no ma. Wherever he is, okokroko bi wo there wo say etiase say ampa wo pa. Because Chaloba, he's basically it appears that yana yakwakwa is as a graduate yakoto ni fi baby na buy. He's a Cobham graduate or a Cobham boy. And one thing I know about Chelsea is almost for Cobham graduate for Niagara, including the supporters. They don't joke with the Cobham graduate. Though yeah, honestly, I don't person with Cobham for be send a baby on the best sortie because we a pure profit. But it appears a guy or an outsider. The kind of protection artist obviously Liverpool enya. Even Rhys James. So injury yeah Rhys James face. Now we are a idea. Almost a pamon on for fun idea. Almost a tono, but almost the end idea. Almost oh anytime be a bar or you good. Anytime you bar or you good. It's no problem. And I'm who said oh injury. And I was about 90 minutes. When to me, I'm 90 minutes. Midfield hope. Imagine say all go up and down over. But I know the also protecting. Liverpool almost protecting. Musha Gallagher, you see here. A time be bar. Maresca nyaye. A be a Garaga. It's a Gallagher so can be. Konomun Tias say Chelsea best midfielder. Coach na bano any technical some pen ni nyina kan be yet akwa we die che say ye hwe mama tete na no be or the Bible quotation I belong to Jesus or the Bible quotation about to I read one from the Bible quotation and look at that time now my banning in the akwa na me quoting the tweet no and I'm said this guy will have a legendary career at Chelsea. I remember some man for Becan with a bimu I was so on Twitter for the dear Tama bimu be the dear my try say met me a quote met me nyasa tweet in the back. Say guy we will have a legendary though no more than Oma a January sa picture here that way I know Obama under 23. I said say you have a legendary Chelsea career. People thought say oh by Oko he is going the whole how say
at time not Chelsea the Simone
the Simone are there bana oh ya dey
Monaco captain Chaloba there
that time now the Bible we be quoting we be Bible way when I was reading the thing I didn't touch me the thing touched me tell me quote say bro don't worry you have a legendary career at Chelsea. And now, what's it then, Pamono? Is it baby? Do you wear that Pamono? Oh, Pamono, I'm going to call Crystal Palace. He was the best defender at Crystal Palace, even ahead of go na omo ye se omo kwakofa omo diska twitwi di kwakofa no. What the team needed was aggression. Omo for aggression mra omo game ni mu kakra because they were too soft. Not omo bully omo. And I'm happy sir now the aggression aba. Even Uncle Tosin cry no. Aggression na then aba.
Oh, Palmer picture be on post to Instagram. Say virus better so. I see people should doubt us now. I say doubt us now.
Yeah.
That is the caption.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
One doubt to omo. It liver yeah, a brand friend Chaloba. And I'm so happy for him.
But at least
so happy.
Professionalism so because
that's what I'm saying.
Times no won't
that is why I'm saying. On say me man about Madueke mo instances say any fellas money there. Even omukra na yedi omaka team ni hu no omunya bi bon kakra no. They were still showing arrogance. No ya banning every team ni hu. Say he cannot even train with the team. A Cobham graduate oh. He's a true Chelsea. Or no or yeah or trying to wear a blue neighbor. This guy Echo Ipswich had a brilliant loan way. And I call Laurent hono na eyi hu no.
Even
Thomas Tuchel.
He was playing as a DM most of the times.
Yeah. Hono na Thomas Tuchel here then. Ehu no. And who said no, this guy. And now it's difficult say Chelsea player obeko loan ato so akọ different class obetime nya abetime ababe team no. Ye be wan say Super Cup. Chairman enya started Betty. That day he also gave 10 over 10 performance in Obiayo. So he was an integral member under Thomas Tuchel. All of a sudden, Yakofa disasi aba, but their shell aba. Just say, Yampeb Abranti in mind, Ashe. And I really love him. I hope one day, next season, me person me call UK. Me to my Chelsea match, na me to me akona me na ko twa picture. Na makache nse ni nyame so. Me nyahu ni pe meka se chairman. Your God is big.
And on the squad number 23 or say Sam 23 and the man fast number 23.
You see?
Yes.
I just want to see him. Hopefully next season next start here. Maybe next year. I'll be able to go to the UK, meet him, and before I catch him and say, Chairman, your God is big. Your God is what? Is big. It's way a moral a lesson the man. Obia. It's not. And you can say a
football
related.
And is it with even Fofana returning back? I'm not saying Fofana when he's fit or but right now I'm not say they are not even going to buy because the plan was to say one Chaloba la Comerton two right-footed centre backs. Yeah. One Baku plus Disasi Ebeko. So when Yababe drew season and Tosin ebe pick form, so you go to a time say Tosin so one of the leaders in the team.
Yeah.
So
now you Chaloba na.
They say Chaloba any Disasi. Yebeto mami no ni akwakoto one player back because already Akwakwe say Badiashile say no looked like Oba deputize Levi Congo and almost also friend Sana man free Strasbourg guy there. Abbas our guy they believe that
I think he will go on.
No, I think he'll go on.
He'll go on.
Yes, so and on the Sana there every Strasbourg but then you look at Chaloba born now but Akwakwe say or fire whatever because who check here defenders now he's the only one apart from Fofana all pace.
Okay.
So with that aggressiveness of one player and Obi Obeye calm, composed on the game, and Adebakwana Chaloba, na the game no, then can say ni passes and short passes. But right now we're improving with that.
Short, long pass.
So whether you have Fofana inside, and now idea Fofana born say whenever you share team name keep Obi Obey team the ball arania. Fofana was doing that, and Chaloba can also do that, but just that of late or to Neman, he's just playing according to how the coach on tactical even say the ball corani So right now, if Fofana should know say this boy Abobona could say it will be very difficult for no Wesley Fofana. Will be into number one. My can say Fofana least to all. So checking Fofana ball or less than number. If he's fit, he's up there with Gabriel Magalhaes Saliba. He's up there. I say Onyinio. But he plays born to the certain say in terms of the pace, aggression, leadership, you know. And Chaloba is a very good player. Always when against Fluminense. Sago Super dangerous man. Ekoko post he's somebody on Kasa. Cheninia Nathaniel Chaloba post on Kokoye because the family was worried like how is even Chelsea treating a boy like this. Kendry Paez, he's not the Cuban boy, but we are playing the FIFA Club World Cup or the hotel. So why didn't even the coach send Chaloba, a young player? Yeah, man, if I can one thing, me start to say me the football, chimia football, meaning say when a team wants to loan academy player or they go preseason, no man about game, just for you to see oh a Chelsea player, they're not about share money African Christ. All these players, but then they were not giving Chaloba, but then because Chaloba had played under Thomas Tuchel. A Chelsea true and true played for our loans and Crystal Palace for command and also quite lucky enough on the Magui partnership was very enough in Chelsea for Chaloba Prime. Sorry for Fona Prime. Your marketing Chelsea were still wanted to go and buy a centre back, but at that time, they were still contemplating say Charlie. We are in the middle of the season. You could be free the Bundesliga bar. How have you not adapted to the pace middle of the season? In fact, so we should try and get somebody in the Premier League. And I'm some for Magui, Gui na one Chaloba and Epen. But Gui was expensive at that time, and there was no defender at that time. So Maloney, Asel Disasi, and they call Aston Villa. So you have to recall one. Then they believe that this player, intensity, no. Okay. This pace of Fofana. So even if you need Fofana already, they also had Obi to say Tosin Ewoho, but they needed somebody to shield him. And no, by intimately can say, I mean, this story, no, any everything, incredible. So oh yeah, it should go up to even ya Ohina. A do baby will now be not far. When will be all show. Just continue to do your best. Now for to say, oh, young upon or boy more bed we say,
or purpose with the man.
Yes, a time will come. You won't even know Zelbeko. I remember Yabeko a friend say FIFA Club FIFA World Cup. Listo. Yaye bibia so ye kwa cover game. Ama me ma mia ye shito ne nyama nyama. Ye ko do e potom si medini list. Me say na me ba fi. And nyame mpobon lucky enough there be me do me data. That day I don't know how I'm do me data. Then a call came and say I don't know one Bible now so saying then the person so how you
never understand.
Yes. Just do your thing. Or bambu away or call Crystal Palace no man a bamboo ya.
So interestingly, this is on our year with 3 medals.
Yes.
Called the FA Cup.
The
Conference League.
Yes, and the FIFA Club World Cup. And now he's going to be an integral part of Chelsea setup. Even if Fofana because of Fofana injuries, there's been reports that they are going to manage Fofana because only Obia won't mean managing Fofana the same regimes. Go Fofana and oye den obecha or no you're aggressive. So they are going to manage the game time, Now no game regimes and you play no player list. The aggressiveness ni intensity. Now share Malo Gusto or stretching you bobino. Ni na two ni na share Enzo Fernandez or running too much. Yes. So the players they were just tired.
All right. As the games be answered anywhere, okay. Vincent so much.
Yeah. One say Copa America, na Africa, any Europe, Mano. Yes.
Nigeria for this.
And the Ghana best nyabo.
Nigeria for
na came there. You can ask them later. Ghana best nyabo. Ghana and Tanzania, and also the UEFA Champions League playoffs. No. And they be super toja. In Timayev 9 hours be few selected games. Ghana, Tanzania, at least it should be a game that the Black Queens should win. So a straight win for Ghana. South Africa, Mali, a straight win for South Africa. Rigas footballer scholar, Omo Latvia, Omone, Tallinn, a straight win for Riga. And Mamo FF, and Sabotulo Bisili, a straight win for Mamo FF. And Inter Club, the Escaldes, any football club, and Stau Bucharesti. Bucharesti win, and then Uruguay, any Argentina, Copa America, no, and Mane Diano, me call a double chance for Argentina. Code no, a 47 SY, 47 SY.
All right, that is that. Nami adumna adumi o chance ye besa ba na fi de akeche ni adia bro. Din the list to Vincent Cabernet ka virus and streaming show ni yakra mo